Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I'm always surprised when kind of a general purpose tool company like WORKPRO makes a specialty tool or kind of a niche tool that does not have neither a wide audience or a wide application. And this is also one of those tools that has a name, at least according to WORKPRO, that's much bigger than the tool. WORKPRO calls this the 120mm slim jaw wide opening stubby adjustable wrench, or the W072070AZ. And this thing, it's very similar to a plier I featured a while ago, and that was this little engineer here. I was looking at kind of an EDC. Both of these have very narrow offset jaws, as you can see. It's about 2.1 to 2.2 millimeters, depending on where you measure it. And there is a bit of a noticeable performance difference, I guess. The alignment of the engineer, as you close it, or the wiggle on the blades, this is just so much finer. The WORKPRO's pretty good, as you see when I close it up, but not perfect, and there is more play here. So they basically took probably more of a conventional 4-inch wide jaw adjustable wrench and then ground it down. Now, why would you grind it down like that? Well, probably a lot of different reasons. One is it does sit a little bit different than the traditional kind of curved jaw, so you can get it flush into a smaller area, or sometimes you're trying to reach in between different fasteners, and if there's washers or larger bolts or something, you might not be able to hold it, like in this case, or even get something into that slot. In the old days, like yesterday, before you had something like that, you might try to hold it with needle nose pliers and then work, but as you know, these aren't bolt grabbing needle nose. Although I did think, playing around with this, what if you tried to build the bolt grabbing that Knipex uses, or even some of the Snap-on, sort of the hex grabbing way up at the tip of something. I just don't know if it'd be strong enough. But anyway, this is about $17, 16 and change. The engineer right now is about $30. So, if you have a use for something like this, it's almost twice as much to get the Japanese engineer versus the Chinese WORKPRO. Now, it's not exactly the same. There are some differences. The blades are a little bit different. The handles are a little bit different. You can see the size difference there. If I try to get those tables lined up, the WORKPRO is thicker overall, so, they probably have a higher grade steel, so they can make it a little smaller. You can see the size, of that drive rod there. And then as far as opening them up, if I go all the way to the max, you can see the comparison there, that the WORKPRO is actually probably a little bit bigger. If that matters, you're not going to be grabbing onto giant nuts and bolts with these things. But it's not exactly the same copy like you might see here with this Fujiya. This is a wide mouth, small one. This thing right now sells for about $35, or you can go to the Matco truck and they will sell you the exact same one, but in green. That's what caught me. These are as far as I can tell, the exact same adjustable wrenches. Everything looks identical on them, but these things are between $65 and $70. So that's a lot of dollars. That's almost twice as expensive as this one, which already seems expensive. And what's happening is some of the Snap-on ones are starting to seem kind of affordable. And there are Snap-on, the USA made or the Spain made non-rubbery grip ones that sell for a little bit less. And then, of course, you can get your Countycom titaniums for you EDC aficionados. But anyway, I thought I'd show you this little WORKPRO just because there are times when that can come in really handy. I've also used it as a vise for holding very small parts. It seems to be a little bit easier than a thicker jaw if I'm working on something. And if you ever have that need, some fields just run into these stacked fasteners, and that's where something like this can just hold it tight. And even though there is jaw play, once something's in there, it actually holds it nice and solid. And I've been meaning to get around to doing a a video on this Click Stop by Proto Tools. And Click Stop, I think they still make it, but you hear that crunching. They actually are selling that as, you know, that it's like detents or something that actually hold this as if this was somehow going to open up on its own. And I've never had that really be a problem with these adjustable wrenches. And usually that's because there's some flex here, there's some play, so when these things line up and it pushes, it kind of locks this in, and then that gear system does not allow any forward movement of the jaw. But anyway, there it is, the WORKPRO 120mm slim jaw wide opening stubby adjustable wrench for about $17. Should you be interested in something like that? It's on there pretty good. Let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.